Due to society's changing perception of female athletics, girls can now play sports such as basketball and soccer without their femininity being questioned. On the other hand, some sports such as women's hockey and rugby continue to face opposition. Typically, these athletes are stereotyped as lesbians due to the high-contact nature of the sports. Moreover, it is rumored that they are taking steroids or are effeminate. Gymnastics, however, is still tainted with the apologetic label given during the women's rights movement. Athletes that participated in typically feminine sports were considered unsupportive to the female cause. Nevertheless, just as notions of femininity have changed, so has the sport of gymnastics. Previously, the sport was reigned by ex-ballerinas with graceful, elegant movements. However, gymnastics is said to have suffered a fall from grace since it emphasizes power and strength. The history of gymnastics spans from present day all the way back to ancient Olympic Games. Gymnastics was a system to develop physical fitness. The modern perception of the term gymnastics developed during the 19th century out of two conflicting gymnastic styles: Swedish, freestyle group exercises, and German, using apparatuses. Gymnastics was used to demonstrate a nation's physical prowess. As part of humans' competitive nature and man's desire to impress women with feats of strength, gymnasts started competing with one another in terms of skill, balance, flexibility, and agility. Gymnastics is one of the few sports that have been included in the Olympics since the beginning of the modern games in 1896. Women, however, were not allowed to participate. They did do demonstrations in 1908, 1912, 1928, and 1936. However, these demonstrations were against popular opinion due to the emphasis of strength in gymnastics, except for freeform, which was more like dance than gymnastics. At the time, femininity was based on women being damsels in distress for men to rescue, thus they were required to be weak. In a post-World War II world, women proved that they could play sports, such as women creating a professional baseball league during the war, and could no longer be confined to the private sphere. 1952 marked the first time women competed in the present-day format of women's artistic gymnastics in the Olympic Games, with 6 competitions: the team competition, the individual all-around, and the 4 event finals: vault, uneven bars, balance beam, and floor exercise. The vault apparatus dates back to Roman times when soldiers used a wooden horse to practice their mounts and dismounts. The uneven bars was developed by raising a bar on the men's parallel bars. The balance beam was a 4-inch wide and 16-foot long apparatus, which was not used in the men's format. The floor exercise allowed women to demonstrate their grace in a choreographed routine to music. Switching the vault from the men's long horse to the women's side horse, converting the parallel bars, and adding music to floor exercise contributed to the popular belief that female gymnasts maintained their femininity in a period when women were being pushed back from the wartime period of industrialization to becoming a suburban housewife. In other words, gymnastics was being feminized. The women's rights movements marked the 1960s as activists spoke up, protested, demonstrated, and made their voices heard. While it took a decade to spill into gymnastics, gymnasts such as Olga Korbut and Nadia Comaneci reflected this activism in 1972 and the 1976 Olympic Games by upsetting the notions of femininity. Overall, these 2 athletes revolutionized the sport forever. The 1972 Munich Games sparked popularity and growth in gymnastics. The sensation started with Olga Korbut's back salto on the uneven bars. At the time, there were many other equally difficult or more difficult elements, but they were not appreciated because they happened so fast, like a triple twist. Olga's shocking bar performance was followed by her sensational routine on beam, where she performed the first back salto from a standing start. It was unlike anything people had seen so far in competition. In the 1976 Montreal Games, Nadia Comaneci continued to push the envelope of women's artistic gymnastics by scoring the first perfect 10 in Olympic history. By the end of this Olympic Games, Nadia attained 7 total perfect scores. Only a girl at the age of 14, Nadia's attainment of constant perfection forced the judges to rewrite the code of points. Nadia also introduced the first release move, a strato salto, on the uneven bars. Moreover, she revolutionized the uneven bar dismounts with a slingshot movement followed by a back salto. Overshadowed by Nadia, Nellie Kim's success at the 1976 Montreal Games is often forgotten. She was the first to score a perfect 10 on the floor exercise with her first ever performed double back salto. She was also the first to perform a Sukahara vault at the 1976 Olympics.